Hey friends, welcome back to the channel with more Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. This is episode 42, or part 4, episode 3, and last time Ed nearly got killed by Kimblee's explosions, the second Philosopher's Stone, though the two men who were working for Kimblee picked up one of the Philosopher's Stones. Don't know how that's going to be important. Al is feeling like his body is being, or his soul is being ripped from the suit of armor and back towards his body, which is not a great situation. But yeah, Kimblee's on the trail of him and Winry and May and Scar now, and they're headed to an fallen refugee camp. It'll be interesting to see what happens from here. If you guys want to watch the full reaction or you want to catch episodes a week early, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. Otherwise, let's get started. Oh.
We believe there's a chance these notes were written in code.
You think so?
Alchemists are typically very protective of
Yeah, we
their
learned that
research and methods.
before.
They bury the meaning of their notes beneath a layer of metaphor and allegory.
Those recipes that Sheska remembered.
Huh? Where am I? Al! Alpha! Thank goodness you're okay. I was so scared you might not wake up. I didn't know what to do. Oh, sorry.
He was
I didn't mean
asleep.
to freak you out like that.
You were too heavy to carry home, so we had to dismantle
Oh, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Sorry to put you guys out like that.
Why don't we start putting you back together? This goes...
Isn't that a part of his right shoulder?
Oh, yeah, seems to be.
Oh no.
I guess we should reassemble him correctly.
Reassemble the pieces.
Couldn't somebody have worn his armor? I guess Scar would be the only one strong enough. Oh!
May? What if we try connecting each occurrence of the words for gold and immortality by physically overlapping them?
Oh.
Let me take a look at those other pages, Marco.
Golden.
What about Al?
Over here.
What about Al?
Alien.
Oh yeah, right here.
He's just still there in pieces.
That's the last one.
It's the Countrywide transmutation circle.
It's too late for this to help us now.
But what about what's gonna happen to our families, our country?
I'm sorry. It was naive to think someone else's research could save us.
Brother, is this really all that you were trying to tell me?
We've only broken the first code, and I bet there's more. There's gotta be some other message hidden in there.
Whoa, can't you cover your mouth, you idiot?
Well, thanks for caring that I'm getting sick. I can't help the fact that I'm catching pneumonia.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Can't even tell which side of the page is right side up anymore.
Good job, moron.
Oh.
Blew the whole damn thing upside down.
There's two sides. We've got to put it back together and then flip it over.
This is it. It's a new Amestrian transmutation circle, but it's activated through Xinghe's alchemy instead.
Is it counteract the previous transmutation circle? Yo, this psycho.
There's no evidence that someone's come through this way. Guess I'll turn back.
Oh no.
They must have been using this place to dispose of the excess rubble from the tunnel that Sloth has been digging.
Oh.
You must be the Crimson Alchemist. It's a pleasure to meet you. Any new developments with Scar?
I'm actually pursuing him now.
Worry about him later. As for now, go ahead and carve the crest of blood at Briggs.
It's not exactly a simple task.
Then use their strength to your favor. Sloth is nearing completion of the tunnel, so there's little time left.
Are the other men that are missing Briggs soldiers?
2 of Kimblee's men. And the Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah, they're fine.
I hope he's all right.
Me too.
If the military was hoping for
Freedom.
casualties, they sure as hell got them. They're sending men in to be slaughtered for this transmutation circle.
What's going on in the south?
They're locked in combat with Arago.
It's a manufactured conflict.
Keep moving, Thomas! Just don't stop! Thomas!
No.
I won't die for this!
That's terrible.
What about Havoc? I thought he's healed, but... He's done.
Tunnels connected.
Time to sleep.
I'm all done working. Does this mean I can rest? Can I, Pride?
The time draws near. The day of reckoning is almost within our grasp.
Day of Reckoning.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Ooh.
Hey, everyone! Go ahead and line up.
Oh,
it's
Rose.
Time to take a lunch break.
Haven't seen her in a long time. She looks different. Has enough time passed that she's older?
I confess I haven't been able to do any work, but would you please give just a little bit of food to these children?
Well, of course I'll feed them. But you have to eat too, okay?
Excuse me, miss. May I
Hohen.
have some food?
Hohenheim.
Don't mind.
And what brings you all the way out to Lior?
We don't mean to pry. We're just surprised to have a tourist. Most people tend to avoid Lior. There isn't much left here after the riots.
Your cooking is a good enough reason to visit.
I just wish there was more I could do to help out around here.
A delicious meal and the smile of a lovely young lady are more help than you can imagine. I'm actually looking for the Church of Leto where the riot started.
This is what's left of it. There's nothing left inside either.
I remember
You know
that.
There's a passage that leads underground.
Yeah.
Is that a floating dead rat?
The water turned toxic. No one's really sure how it happened.
I get the feeling that this was put here to keep people from going any further. So...
Wait!
Hey, what are you doing? That stuff will kill you!
No, it won't.
It's some kind of miracle.
Stop.
No miracle.
Miracle.
But I know what it is. That's alchemy.
Oh. It's the tunnel.
Found it right off the bat, didn't I?
It? Pride. Oh! Wow.
That didn't even slow it down.
Yeah. How do you beat something like this?
I'm afraid that's all I've got.
What? It looks like it's being stopped by the...
Something wrong? Aren't you going to attack me?
You look just like... You must be von Hohenheim.
So I'm assuming that this must be the edge of your container.
Huh.
You'll die if you pass it. It's not much different than your flask, is it? I'm guessing
Pride
you
is...
can only move freely within these tunnels in Central City. What's wrong? Why the silent treatment? Did I hit a nerve?
So Sloth was opening up his container,
angry?
expanding it.
I'm never angry. Anger does not exist within me. I left all unnecessary emotions within Father. All but one. My name is Pride.
Pride the arrogant. That makes sense. I can see your conceit. You're obviously the first one that he separated. Pride was his strongest trait. And the mere fact that he took the time and energy to give you his original appearance. That act alone shows how egotistical he truly is. You are the pure essence of your father. Tell him Slave 23 will be dropping in quite soon. I am waiting, von Hohenheim. Yes, I am waiting for you.
The sacrifices.
What exactly were you doing in there?
Sending a declaration of war.
Crest of blood incoming. Oh.
Why? It's Drachma!
We are rather fortunate the northern wall of Briggs has been called away. Good timing, Mr. Kimblee.
And on top of that, I've got a number of my top men already stationed inside the fort. They'll spring their treachery when the fighting starts. The insane chaos should weaken them from within.
Fort Briggs will belong to Drachma by nightfall.
Well, let's send a declaration of war. What do you say we give them a nice fireworks show for starters?
And he's just gonna kill everybody.
Prepare to fire! Fire!
That's the end of the episode. Great. Drachma attacking with Olivier not in charge. So this was a brand new experience for Al while he's in that armor. Like, he hadn't slept since he's been in that armor, and I guess it wasn't so much that he was sleeping so much as his soul was being ripped back towards his actual body. But either way, he was unconscious for the first time in years. And to wake up with all of his armor, like, all disassembled, that would be pretty anxiety causing, I feel like. But yeah, apparently they took Al apart so that they could carry him to the cabin. And then right when they start working on putting him back together, May discovers something and they forget all about him. Like, put him back together, guys. He wasn't even done putting... He wasn't even put back together by the end of the episode. But yeah, they knew the book was written in some kind of code they had to decipher. We learned that this is a common thing among alchemists back when Ed and Al were working on deciphering the notes on the Philosopher's Stone, and Sheska recited all those recipes. They uncover the Countrywide transmutation circle, and Marco loses all hope so quickly because he's like, it's too late for this to help us. Like, we already knew this, and yeah, Scar's brother actually uncovered quite a bit. It's really interesting. But Yoki happens to sneeze and like flip some of the pages over, giving Al the idea to put them together but upside down. And it's actually super funny because you know how sometimes in crime shows the camera will zoom in on someone's face when they reach an epiphany? When it happens this episode, it zoomed in on Al's torso because he was split apart into so many pieces. In retrospect, that's really funny. But yeah, flipping over the pages made another Emestrian transmutation circle, but this one activated with Xingyi's alchemy, and then we don't see them for the rest of the episode. I'm just like, what does it do? Does it like counteract the first transmutation circle? Do they have to make a countrywide alchemy circle to cancel it out? I don't know. But yeah, we have Kimblee wandering through the mines and almost turning around until he happens upon Pride, who orders him to abandon his search for Scar and carve the crest of blood at Briggs because Sloth is finishing up making this tunnel. We see a little of all of Mustang's men, excluding Havoc, out where they've been positioned, all where crests of blood are being carved, it seems. So they were sent out there specifically to die. We actually get to see Rose again, though. I mentioned I was wondering what happened to her after the military was sent back from Central to cause more chaos. So it's nice to see such an old face back in the fold, even if it's just likely for one episode. And yeah, Rose is serving food, taking care of the community. I'm glad she was able to lift herself out of that despair. That was some really rough stuff that she was dealing with before. And then more horrible stuff happened with Lior being torn to shreds. Loved Hohenheim showing up begging for food, though. Almost as bad as Ling. At least he made it to someone who had food. Ling couldn't even. He just fell asleep fell unconscious on the side of the road. Yeah, I was hoping Rose or Hohenheim would mention Ed or Al to each other and bond over that, but unfortunately not. But yeah, Hohenheim finds the tunnel crossing over a toxic waterway under the Church of Leto, caught a glimpse of Ed and Al's fight against Leto, and he comes across Pride, who we learn is actually technically very similar to the dwarf in the flask. The tunnel and Central is his container, which is really interesting. And he actually only recognizes Hohenheim because he looks like Father. So he's not exactly the dwarf, but yeah, Pride seemed ready to kill Hohenheim actually if it wasn't for the fact that he was confined to the tunnel. And yeah, I'm curious exactly. I mean, he also said he wanted to bring him back to Father. So we'll see what happens with that. Sloth essentially was expanding his container, right, by making the tunnels. That's interesting as well. I don't know how much that matters, but who knows. Hohenheim said he's going to go and see Father in his own time. He's coming for him. And when he meets up back with Rose and she asked what he was doing, he said he was sending a declaration of war. And that's an interesting turn of phrase because we see it later in the episode as well. But yeah. Kimblee ready to carve that crest of blood, ready to have Drachma roll over Briggs. Drachma is clueless that they're just being used, and Kimblee uses the same term Hohenheim just used earlier, let's send a declaration of war. And I don't know, Fort Briggs is strong, but I don't know if people in Central people in Briggs who came from Central are actually working against them from the inside. It seems like Kimblee wants everybody to kill each other to create as much blood as possible, and yeah, Drachma with their army, their artillery, and then Kimblee with the Philosopher's Stone. We're ramping up towards a big battle, it feels like. But I'm excited to continue with this. I would give this probably an 8. Yeah, we haven't seen Ed for a while, which is kind of sad, but he's fine for now, being carried by those two Chimera. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to watch the full reaction or you want to watch episodes a week early, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, friends.